Hello, everyone. It's Shane Conto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and welcome to the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where my guests and I each pick a film related in some shape or form. And it's the first week of the month, so that means my wife Jess is joining me. Jess, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome, Shane.
And for this week, we have a double dose of Godzilla films, including the original from 1954, as well as the Gareth Edwards launch of the Lionsgate Warner Brothers Monsterverse Godzilla from 2014 that came out, but 60 years after the original film.
Mm-hmm.
And let's get started with Ishiro Honda's original Godzilla film. And after a dinosaur-like beast awoken from undersea hibernation by atomic bomb testing ravages Tokyo, a scientist must decide if a similarly dangerous weapon should be used to destroy it. Jess, what are your general thoughts on the original Godzilla?
I realize I have actually seen this before when they got to the scientists with the eye patch scene in the lab.
Hmm.
But other than that, I enjoyed this a lot. I thought that obviously you can tell it's a guy in a suit. Spoilers if you haven't seen this and can't realize it's a guy in a suit. But I thought they did a good job of building up tension and not, especially for 1954. Said to Shane, this was pretty like high art for I don't know, maybe not, but it was interesting to see a movie from this era that didn't show the monster
Well,
until a lot of the way through it, I think.
and there's a lot of really campy, over the top Godzilla films, including from the Toho era.
Yeah, which is what I was thinking of, but not
Yeah,
this one.
this is not. This original film is such a poignant allegory for America and nuclear power as a weapon. And this film only came out 9 years after the end of World
Yeah,
War II.
which is wild.
So
And
this
the
is,
dropping of the atomic bombs because it was
yep,
45 was the same year.
specifically, this is a really bold choice to tackle this kind of film at this point in the aftermath of World War II, and obviously Godzilla being this nuclear creature.
Hmm.
And yes, it's a guy in a suit, but the costume design is
Yeah,
incredible. It
like
is so iconic. It is such a creative creature, and we'll get into that more when we talk about the next Godzilla film.
he's lumpy and we love him for
This one is particularly lumpy, especially in the head.
I
Um,
love that for him though.
and all the action's really incredible, and the amount of detail that they put in with all of the practical effects,
Yeah.
all the miniatures,
Hmm. I love
um,
those. They're my favorite part probably is the miniature scenes.
which when he's absolutely destroying Tokyo is
Yeah.
really impressive with all the different miniatures, the cars, the
I
buildings.
mean, they're like one-to-one reproduction. There's a lot of detail on those.
Hmm.
I mean, you can kind of tell if you're really looking at it, but for the time, I'm sure that it was better than crappy special effects they probably have.
Well, and at this point, if this was 2025, this movie came out, it would look campy and would hopefully have been done on purpose to
I was
be
gonna say it
kind
would
of tongue
still
in
be.
cheek. But like, this is state of the art effects. And you're right, they slowly built tension. That first reveal of Godzilla's head over that mountain is the first time we
Yeah,
see
like you just see
Godzilla.
enough of them.
And you get the roar,
Hmm.
which is iconic.
Love the roar.
So much great sound effects and sound mixing and sound design that really makes this feel so encompassing. And a special shout out to Akira Ifukube, who did the score for this,
Oh
because
yeah, it goes hard.
the theme of this, the no 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 no
Oh
no
yeah,
no
and
no
then
no no,
all the times that it comes on, you're just like, hell yeah,
doom,
hit me
doom,
with that
doom,
score.
it's just so iconic, and it just pumps it up. And because so many other Godzilla films have used this specific piece of music.
You can't. Why reinvent the wheel if it's
Mhm.
already perfect?
Well, and the music is great, and the effects are great, the action's exciting. But what makes this film stand out is that you do have a whole cast of characters that are
Yeah,
interesting.
wow, I actually care about them.
You have legendary Japanese actor Takashi Shimura, who had been in Ikiru and Seven Samurai and a lot of Kurosawa films as this main scientist. And even like the expositional scenes are engaging because these actors and like bring an authenticity to it. And also, this was fresh and interesting to bring in 1954. Like,
Mhm.
obviously,
Yeah.
we've had so many monster
Well,
movies.
there's nuance to it
Yeah.
because it's like you have the people who are like, "Shoot it, just shoot it," the
Hmm.
people who wanna study it,
Yep.
and the other people who are, like, animal experts, or, like, the scene where they have the, traditional dance that they do on the island was pretty
Hmm.
cool with the big, ogre masks and everything.
Well, and that's important too because this film does balance a lot of conflicting perspectives on things, and you have these island natives who, like, this isn't some kind of thing that's brand new to
No,
them.
and they kind of are way calmer than everybody else about it, like, when he emerges, they're just kinda like, "Oh, there's Godzilla. Get your
Well,
stuff. Let's go take pictures."
and it's that cultural kind of thing and that legend, and that builds some layers there too. And then you have Momoka Kochi's Emilko, who is this young woman who's the daughter of the main scientist who has that interest of like we can't just like
Oh, yeah, she's
destroy.
plucky, Emiko.
Yep, he's like you can't just destroy this creature,
Mhm.
like. And the film makes it clear like this thing isn't pure evil,
Mm-mm.
it's just a force of nature.
Just kinda like the reasonable one, especially when they're all charging him, they're like, "He's over the hill." It's just like, "Hey, guys, dad, maybe don't."
And then eye patch scientist
Yeah.
Akiko Hirata, who plays Dr. Shirazawa, which is very interesting because just realizing now that that's Ken Watanabe's character
Yeah, yeah, Serizawa. Yeah.
from the 2014 Godzilla,
I
and probably is
He'd
I don't
be
know
proud of
his.
his grandson.
Well, and it's that interesting kind of thing where it's like this man has created something that could kill
Mhm,
Godzilla,
mhm.
but like what are the
Yeah.
ramifications? And this film has that gray area of challenge. Like this is though the film's a crisp black and white
Yeah.
shot film, but like this story is not black and white.
Mhm.
And all the way up to like the ending is harrowing. It's not like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, we got it."
Yeah.
It's just like,
What now?
oh, it's like at what cost? It's like we just killed this creature.
Mhm.
Obviously they didn't because Godzilla comes back
It was a hit, and they were like, "Alright, resurrect him."
and it's just like, well, now we have to make 30 something movies about Godzilla now.
I love them all. They're all so horribly campy. It's great.
Well,
I
and
love watching the 2 dudes in suits duke it out. It's great.
like early Power Rangers influence
Yep.
of just
I'm here for it.
people in costumes and Godzilla power sliding on his tail.
I love rewatching those Power Rangers episodes where you can see it's clearly just a guy in a series of cardboard boxes.
Hmm. Well, and this film has a lot of depth. It has good acting. It
Mhm,
has good characters. It has interesting human conflict, and that makes it a lot more intriguing when there's a lot of time spent on the human beings in this.
mhm.
This film is only 96
They
minutes.
pack a lot into it.
It's a compelling story and it takes you into some interesting places and challenges you as an audience member. And obviously, things got a lot campier from here, but I think the one of the other film that we're going to talk about, the 2014 Godzilla, brought it back to that more
Mhm,
serious, grounded perspective. And Godzilla minus one, which is
mhm,
not old enough yet for me to talk about on the show because the
mhm,
films have to be 10 years old.
mhm.
But that really
Well,
captured
this was
the
definitely
spirit as
10
well.
years old.
Yes, this film is
Older
significantly
than our
older.
parents, in fact.
Yes, this is like significantly older than 10 years old. But I guess, Jess, do you have anything else you wanted to add about 1954's Godzilla?
No, I think it's worth a watch.
There you go. Also known as Gojira, which
Gojira.
is the Japanese version of his name. And then
Loan words in Japanese.
Then we do have the 2014 Godzilla. The world is beset by the appearance of monstrous creatures, but one of them may be the only one who can save humanity. And this is directed by Gareth Edwards, who has made a name for himself making these big budgeted kinds of films and really making use of special effects and not the biggest of budgets. His film The Creator, which I didn't love, but like it looked incredible, but he also directed Rogue One, and now he has the latest Jurassic World Rebirth coming out, which he directed. And that's like one of the only reasons why I'm semi interested in checking out this new Jurassic Park film. But this film does focus on you have these two giant moth-like
Yeah, the
Muto
Mutos.
who show up, and then of course so does Godzilla. But Jess, what are your general thoughts on Godzilla 2014?
I like when big monsters fight.
Yes, and
That's it. No more thoughts.
Gareth Edwards made a very specific choice to make you wait. And the
He
mo-
knows what we want. He's teasing us.
the moments when they happen are so incredible. And what's so impressive about this is almost this whole entire film is shot from a human perspective
Yep.
so that you get the scale, and these monsters are humongous. This
Yep.
is like the biggest Godzilla.
It's not like the original where, they all the shots are from a distance, and that's not disparaging or anything.
Mhm.
It's just different.
Well, you really wouldn't have been able to do that
No,
back
that's what I
then.
mean. Now they're like, you know.
With the special effects in this look incredible for an 11-year-old movie at
Yeah,
this
they still
point.
well, they kind of did the Jurassic Park thing, right? Like they showed them just enough.
Yes. And you got to see the scale, the massiveness of these
The tsunami.
monsters. And yes, they build up tension and show like Godzilla coming out of the ocean is going to cause a tsunami. Like, of course it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
He's massive.
you it teases you with like, they show the aftermath of the Hawaii fight on the
Mm-hmm.
news afterwards. But when you finally get to the climax of this film and just the monster fighting is incredible. And you know, this had and we both saw this together back in 2014 in theaters. Summer of 2014 was a great
It
year
brought
for
me back
movies.
there, made you say, hell yeah.
When Godzilla's spines start lighting up
Everybody
and
clap.
he just unleashes that nuclear breath into the one Muto and just severs its whole entire
Yeah.
body off was just the coolest thing ever. And like it's really satisfying, but you have to stick with it.
Yeah.
This film is what 2 hours and 3 minutes or so.
You have to follow boring human man around.
Well, and that's the challenging thing because one, the opening scene is really awesome with Ken Watanabe as Dr. Sirisawa and Sally Hawkins' character, um, Vivian Graham, and you see like they find, oh, what are these giant
We
monster
should poke him a
bones
little
and
bit.
stuff like that. And then you have this incredible opening sequence with Bryan Cranston and Juliette Binoche, who plays his wife, and they both work in this nuclear power plant in
Original
Japan.
work. Great show, by the way.
Yes, the spin-off Monarch
Amazing show.
is a great show, and I can't wait for the second season to keep expanding this lore. But that opening scene has so much emotion
I
because
know.
it's just like this movie did not deserve the level of acting that Bryan
It's
Cranston
the
brought
Phil
to it,
Collins effect, where it's you didn't have to go that hard, but he did for us.
and he's only in it for the first act before infamously, they unceremoniously kill him within the first act of the movie.
Watching this now, I kind of get it better, I think, because I think the whole point is that there's nothing we can do to affect this, really.
No. Well, and I understand here's the thing, in a vacuum, it's really well done because it builds emotional stakes, and he was fantastic for the first third. My biggest issue, and I don't have a problem with them barely showing the monsters either and making us wait,
I get it.
but you have to give us characters to
Yeah, he was
connect
kind of
with.
just normal human man.
And Aaron Taylor Johnson's Ford Brody is bland.
Even his name is kind of boring.
He's a soldier, he's a bomb expert, and that's it. He's a bomb expert, he's a husband and a father.
I feel like they could have done more with him being a bomb expert too. Everything he
Yeah.
does has nothing really to do with that except
Until
him
like the
sneaking back in.
very end. Up
Yeah.
until like the very end. And he doesn't have any personality. And
He's a dad, Shane.
this
He's
is
trying to
not
get to his wife and child.
this is not Aaron Taylor Johnson's best performance. His
He's got
American
charisma.
accent is not great.
You didn't see that comic scene?
And he just is very bland and flat in this. And I get it. It's supposed to be putting us in with a huge, like regular people, but like there's regular people that have
Well, he
personality.
had no quirks. Back when I was writing, that's what the feedback I got most commonly
Mhm.
was that they had quirks. And I'm like, thanks, I'm mentally ill. And I try to put a little bit of that in characters.
Well,
But he doesn't have any quirks. He's just human male number 761.
and his wife is nurse, mother, wife. But
Nurse is the most common occupation, I believe.
Elizabeth Olsen is really
Yeah,
talented
she's cute.
and shows personality in this. Like he's very empathetic. It's just Ford's very flat. And the fact that we have to spend so much time with him just kind of those moments don't hit as well.
There would have been no second date if I was his wife.
But when you get like that train sequence is incredible.
Yeah, that was great.
The that whole tsunami in Hawaii, the incredible skydiving sequence which looks
Yeah, the
absolutely
halo.
incredible, and with the whole music from the beginning of 2001 A Space Odyssey.
And he sounds like me climbing a flight of stairs.
Seamus McGarvey, who's the cinematographer for this film, does an incredible job. This movie looks great. And all of that really works. And it keeps you engaged enough. And even like Ken Watanabe doesn't, he's very stoic and very reserved, but he has presence. Um, and you have like the likes of like David Strathairn, who is a really talented actor and
Not
brings
Gary
presence,
Sinise.
not Gary Sinise, which Jess thought was Gary
I
Sinise.
thought from the back of his head he was Gary Sinise. It's
This
okay.
this film has incredible action and monster fighting when it does. Bryan Cranston made the first act of this film feel so great.
Yeah.
Anytime it's leaning into the filmmaking and the tension building and the suspense building and the disaster elements, it works. When we're really just stuck with Ford, the movie is considerably less
Well,
interesting.
everybody around him is so much more interesting.
And in general, I think it's not enough to sink this film because, like, I still really enjoy this. I enjoyed this a lot more than like. I feel like the last couple times I had watched this, perseverate on just how uninteresting he is.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that this film could have been a little tighter. They could have moved a little quicker with some of like the military stuff,
Yeah, they spent a lot of time on the US military.
like building stuff up. Like this probably could have been like an hour and 50 minutes or 45 minutes and still really would have worked. But at the end, like this is a really impressive start to this franchise that just kind of had a huge drop off in the second one because all the human characters were terrible and were so uninteresting. But the monster action was peak for sure.
Yeah.
And then now it's just leaned so heavily into campy, ridiculous, over the top that this doesn't even feel like the same world anymore. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
why I loved Monarch so much because it felt like
Oh
this
yeah.
one.
Monarch.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell and all the characters. Honestly,
Mhm.
when any of them died, I was upset about that. Which spoiler alert for Godzilla movies, where everyone could die at any time. Really, people die.
But I guess, Jess, do you have any other final thoughts on Godzilla 2014?
No, I like big monster smash
Now, one last thing.
and Bryan Cranston.
Oh my god. I didn't even realize this is Alexandre Desplat did the score for this.
Oh, your boy Shane.
The score is great for this too, and it's nothing like the original Godzilla
I feel
score,
like it
which was a
has
choice.
overtones of it though, because you can kind of in the beginning kind of hear the na 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 na, but it's just a very faint, and then never again, which I can appreciate that.
I think the technical aspects of this film are just off the charts. It really comes together. And at the end of the day, this is a great start to a franchise that I don't love. And because I think it's gone in directions that I I liked what really worked here, and I would love to see more of
They didn't
this
really
kind of
pick
thing.
up and run with that.
No, they went in other
They were
directions.
like, "Oh, you want some monster punch and slop open wide?"
But at the end of the day, I don't make these movies, and I just sit back and try to enjoy them.
Well, and then you got Godzilla -1.
Yes, which was incredible. You should all go check out.
Still haven't seen it.
That is a wrap on another episode of the Wasteland Retrospective. Next week, Mike and I are going to be doing a double dose of Adam Sandler 90s movies with Happy Gilmore
Oh,
and The Wedding Singer in preparation for Happy Gilmore 2 coming out
oh, I do like The Wedding Singer.
in July. The Wedding Singer is the best
Won't somebody please
actual
kill
is
me?
the actual best comedy that Adam Sandler has made.
Honestly, one of the best depictions of having a crash out or a mentee B I've seen as someone who's had several.
Yep. And next month, Jess and I will be taking on a couple of dark 1980s fantasy animated films with The Black Cauldron and Fire and Ice. But thank you for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What's your go to Godzilla film? Do you prefer the more weighty, intense, serious ones, or do you love watching Godzilla power slide on his tail to double drop kick other monsters? And make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPDM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding. We have so many great shows with all different types of content. And if you want to join the crew, make sure to reach out to us on our website, whether you have an idea for your own podcast or you want to be a guest on one of ours. And lastly, if you like our logo, go check out HiFlyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.